combined can overcome the mob, right, if you will.
Yes.
And it's like, that's all this is, man. It's a bunch of kids talking to adults, and the adults are like, yo, kid, shut the fuck up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the kid's like, no, we want to rebel. We need to express ourselves and be able to dress however the fuck we want to and all that shit. And it's like, yeah, okay, listen, I'm not saying that you can't dress yourself. I'm just saying that, you know, maybe generally speaking, dressing respectable is considered a standard because it shows that you're willing to do what it takes to, like, maintain yourself. You know how easy it is to fuck yourself up like Tekashi 6ix9ine?
It's very easy.
It is so fucking easy. It is a slippery slope. Guy ran out of space for tattoos real quick.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He's only like 20, I think 20, right? About 20.
I have no idea. I mean, that's the thing is, like, unfortunately, there are also too many people to try and keep track of, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, just me, because you got the main game of the people that you want to be fans and be like, yo, what's poppin', what's new? But then you also have your friends and the culture people that you want to be a part of, that you always want to shout out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like for example, you know, Sampler Cafe. If you've never heard of them, they're a beat culture out of Canada. Okay? And the only way that they're going to get known is if someone like myself says the word Sampler Cafe. Because they didn't ask me to say shit, right? But that's just like my people in terms of like my people from another country, culture.
Yeah.
But we're all unified through hip hop, right? Or Pushing Buttons Collective. That's here in New York, right? There's always a different area where people can get involved, but the only way that people will actually get involved is if they know about it and they show up. It's the only way that it happens. You know,
like word of mouth. Like just people just...
Yeah, it's word of mouth and it's action, and it's confident word of mouth. It's not just saying it for the sake of saying it. You know what I mean? Like, you know when people are like, share this status and copy and paste? You know, like... Dude, no. I'm talking about truly impassioned culture freak.
Yeah, like you have to listen to this artist or like this and that because I have.
Yeah. Bro, take out your phone and type in this name.
Yeah.
Okay, like that's what you have to tell them.
Yeah, it's like watching sports or collecting cars or something like or buying video games. Like you just be like, man, you really got to check them out. Like you have to make sure that they actually search his music and play his music while you with them. So that's the beauty of hip hop, you know, all together. Like whether we like the music or not, like it's still people don't realize that they're very, you know, they nerdy and geeky when it comes to this culture because there's so many people out there that's very talented that just have fans like ourselves engaged in their music.
Well, I mean, dude, absolutely. And I mean, look, aside from being a nerd of this culture, like the word nerd and geek and so, well, maybe not geek, really nerd.
Yeah.
Nerd like used to mean one thing, right? Taking on a whole new meaning over the age, become a lot more liberal with the word. Mm-hmm. And I am okay with that. I grew up when being a nerd wasn't cool.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, video games were just on the rise. If you like video games, you were a nerd. Like, if you... Bro, like, trading card games, come on. You couldn't be in that. Comic books, you couldn't be in that. I remember so clearly getting made fun of in, like, I think it was, like, second grade when I had comic books with me. And it literally stopped me from reading comic books for a little bit because, you know, you're an impressionable little kid and you want to try and be social and be accepted, right?
Yeah, be cool, yeah.
And it's bullshit. It all ends up being bullshit. So when I tell people to stay nerdy and to really like get involved with that nerdiness, bro, you can be a nerd in anything that you want. Nerd now just means really into something, you know. But you can make a lot of change if you embrace that nerdiness, because you might just really be into creating something like out of old things, but that might be something that you can market and make a living out of, or at the very least it might be able to help change someone else's perception of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, because even the people who used to make fun of me and we got grown and stuff, some of them actually understood like why how like the person I was, why I was so excited about like video games or like sports and stuff. They come and tell me like, no, sorry,
I didn't mean to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, I'm just saying like I have people who's like as we got older, they'll tell me like, oh, I got into like cars and stuff, and like they'll tell me everything about the car and things like that. But they was like, I could see how the person that you were when you was younger, I'm that person now because I'm so into, that type of things and stuff like that. And I tell them like, ain't nothing wrong with that. Everybody have a passion about something, so.
Dude, it's different people who can really take a passion or a solace in certain things that can like really make a difference in that particular craft, because they just are a part of it so much. So car nerds, for example, I personally will never understand why people want nice cars. I personally don't get it. Okay?
Yeah.
I don't. The whole like rolling up in something fly, bro, I cannot wait till I can roll up in my rust bucket on something. Oh, it's gonna be dope. But like I just don't get it. But, well, no, not to say that I don't get it, because what I do understand is when people take me into nice cars. Like I got to, one of my friends rented a Rolls Royce for their wedding, right? Oh, they just rented it so that they could drive around in like a couple hours and just feel super fly, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, I got to sit in the car. I got to go down the road and all that shit. Sure, it was a pleasurable ride, and I was like, yeah, this is a very cool vehicle, right? It's the same way that I would try and explain to someone why Cowboy Bebop is so fucking awesome.
Yeah, Cowboy Bebop is everybody's favorite anime.
Yeah. And me trying to explain to them, and then I can even show them, and they're like, "Wow, yeah, that's pretty good animation. Yeah, that's good animation. Oh, wow, yeah, that's pretty good music. That's good music behind it." But they just like don't get it in the same way that I do. The same way that I can appreciate maybe why a nice car is there or exists, but will never do it myself because I'm just not a nerd like that.
Yeah,
but that doesn't mean that everyone can be able to embrace their nerdery to make a positive impact in whatever their craft is going to be. In my humble opinion, I do think that, considering that humans are meant to be a social creature, that you need to put aside a lot of those differences, and everyone needs to be able to do their nerdy with others' interests in mind.
Exactly.
Okay. I wish if there's any feeling, it's a very true statement, in my humble opinion, which is that there's no truly selfless act, right? Because even you doing something nice or free or whatever, seeing that pleasure in someone else gives you that satisfaction.
Yeah.
Like the satisfaction that you get knowing that you're doing whatever it may be, the Lord's work, or that you're just like doing positive things with a nonprofit. There's always that satisfaction that you get. So there is no truly selfless act. However, use that, because if you understand that the gratification, like if there's anything that can transcend to anybody else, it's the gratification that you get by helping somebody, right? Because when you do that, and you can make that a part of your life, then that's where a lot of really beautiful things can take place. Right? And it means that if you're a car nerd, dude, make the dopest car that will benefit your brothers and sisters of this world.
Yeah.
If you want to fucking make comic books, make the most awesome comic books that will make people want to continue reading them and impact their lives the way that they did for me.
Exactly.
Whatever it is that you're into, just do it so that other people can be good to each other. Exactly. And if everyone had that mentality, then I think that there would be a lot less of the the attaining of money and then selfishly keeping it. And I think that there would be a lot more of the I'm cool with my basic couple of bedroom house with my family, right? And I don't need anything crazy. I just want to be able to then take the rest of my money and give other people the opportunity that they deserve. You know, I forget where I saw it, but there was a quote where it was like, you know, I don't think about how much of a genius Einstein was. I think about how many more of him there could have been that never got the opportunity. You know, and that's what I think about as well, is this concept of like how many you can there are people who are geniuses that are out in these other parts of the world, but because of their circumstances they are not able to take that genius to the help of to the masses, right? And it's something that, you know, is Dok Brass's focus in trying to help be a symbol of change, is that, like, trust me, you're fucking comfortable, man. Humans, we exist outside of nature, okay? Like, we're not part of the circle of life in the way that other animals are. We don't worry about getting murdered by animals in the same way. You know what I mean? At least if you're in a part of, like, major civilization. Yeah, if you go out into the wild, that's why it's called the wild. Yeah. Right? Like, you go into the outbacks of Australia, yeah, that's a tough one. But generally speaking, if you stick to civilization and the things that we've made for ourselves, we're very impressive creatures. We've been able to exist outside of that circle of life as the supreme, you know, kind of species. And people take it often for granted because they are more worried about whether or not the you know, peppermint flavored Christmas season frappuccinos in this season more than whether or not they are allowed to have coffee at will. You know, and that's what I'm about. I'm about kind of humbling people a little bit more, remembering that, yo, the fact that you even get to choose what kind of coffee you want in the morning is fucking awesome. Yeah, it's dope. And now, I don't want to make it seem like to enjoy the illusion of freedom, because it's also, you know, the minor conspiracy theorist in me that will always want to forewarn people that just because you can choose your coffee doesn't mean that the people above you have best interests at play, right? It's about holding everybody accountable to that standard, every human being. No one's exempt. We all live, we all die, and guess what? That really doesn't make you any much better than the next person. Exactly. You know, generally speaking. Everyone is just a pastiche of what they, you know, enjoyed throughout life and allowed to make them comfortable to shape them into who they are. Exactly. You know, which is why a lot of Dave Chappelle and MF Doom. You know, like I just love like Dave Chappelle, the movie Fear of a Black Hat, Black Dynamite, shit like that, bro. I just love quoting shit like that because it makes me comfortable and I like to laugh at it. Yeah, you know what I mean?
Feel good, yeah.
So that's all anybody ever is, though. Whatever you like to do and whatever makes you happy, that's who you are. Just encompassed, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So I have two more questions before we close the show. One of the questions is about hip hop. Name, like, I guess, your top 5 favorite artists of all time.
Is this hip hop artists?
Yeah, hip hop. Yes.
Okay. So technically, I already named 3 of them, right? Dilla, Madlib, and Doom is my trinity. So they're always going to be in my top all the time. Shit. I mean, like, I know this might be a little bit of a cop-out, but if I can be so gracious as to be able to say Wu-Tang, even though it's technically 9 separate members, you know what I mean?
No, that's a group. I mean, Wu-Tang is Wu-Tang.
Yeah, I can't say Wu-Tang. That's a cop-out. Because that's like me grouping up a bunch of people into one entity. Even though I hear the rumors say that they are nothing to fuck with. So I'm just saying, keep an eye out. But let me see here. Favorite hip-hop artist. Because you know what's going to be funny too is because like I always think about what happens if years down the line someone finds someone new to Dok Brass